You know what time it is? Yeah, you guessed it. Let's get into some Maysplaining. Rapsodo and Hawkeye all tell you this information. Paul Skeens has added 2 pitches to his arsenal going into 2025. No! Don't do it! Don't!
Buckle up. It's time for some Maysplaining.
Time for some Maysplaining. All right. You guys ready for some Maysplaining? Because I freaking am. Yeah. Let's predict everything for 2025. I'm talking everything. We're going to go through every single division, and I want to know what you guys think. But I want the chat in here as well. Let's predict. Let's predict it all. Actually, no, I want this one. We want to go here. Yeah, that's one better. That looks nicer. Let's go. Let's go is right. All right. And let's just freaking do it. All right? I need you to know, though. Let me know in the chats and in the comments below, anyone who's watching this anywhere, how much you agree with everything that I'm about to say to you. It was a tough one. I have one caveat. I need to be very clear here. It's not a caveat, okay? Caveats feel like excuses to me. Not a caveat, but these two leagues, National League and American League, are wildly different in terms of competitiveness, top heaviness, and like parity. Crazy. I've never seen an American League have this much parity with this many teams that could do something. We talked to Anthony Castrovince yesterday on SiriusXM, and he was telling us about one of his bold predictions was that the entire AL field for the playoffs is different this year. Like, it's just 6 different teams. That's entirely possible. I don't think it's likely at all, but I think it is entirely possible based on how the things laid out. And in the NL side, we have some teams that are fully formed, ready to go on a run. And there's more than just the Dodgers. So keep that in mind as we go through these, because we are starting with the AL West. In 5th place in the AL West. No cell phones and not very many wins. The Los Angeles Angels will be your 5th place team in the AL West once again, repeating from last year. And they will end the year with a 71-91 record, with their team MVP being Logan O'Hoppe, being their, I think this guy's going to produce a little bit, get a little bit better. He's going to continue to improve as kind of the quarterback of the team, moving in that kind of Rushman direction. I mean, he's not going to he hit 20 homers last year. He had 74 RBIs. That's a great year for a 24-year-old in his sophomore year. He's a catcher. He's got a good arm. He's good defensively. He's quickly becoming one of the better catchers in the American League. So I'm going to give him the team MVP in 2025. In 4th place in the AL West, the redacted Athletics. Sacramento A's, Las Vegas A's, what do you want to call them? The Athletics. The Athletics. Someone said Zach Neto. Isn't Zach Neto hurt right now? That's a little bit of a tough one. The A's end the year 78-82, just missing 500. And Lawrence Butler is their MVP. It could be him or Rooker, in my opinion. But I'm going to go with the young buck. He's been talking a lot in spring. He got that extension. He's just kind of got energy. He's fun to watch, and he was absolutely electric in the second half of the year. In the second half of last year. So your Nomad A's will take 4th this year, but put on a little bit of a better show. In number 3rd, number 3 in the AL West this year, unfortunately, Seattle Mariners are going to kind of just settle right into where they settled into last year. As many of you know, they brought back Jorge Polanco and added Donovan Solano, and then did nothing else for the whole offseason after missing the playoffs by 1 game and losing a 10-game lead in the division to the Houston Astros. Unfortunately, I see them doing a lot of the same stuff, especially with George Kirby being behind schedule here going into the regular season. You can't just depend on throwing 6 starting pitchers for the entire season again. It's just It's just not going to happen. And if they lose one or two of the starters for any length of time, it's going to be rough. They will end 82 and 80. And I think Julio Rodriguez takes another step, has a little bit better year, even though he was way more productive than he seemed like he was. I think the power numbers go up a little bit this year. I think he runs a little bit more this year, and I think he stays a little bit more healthy. Hopefully, though, it's not all on him, and we have someone kind of blossom in that lineup outside of him and Cal Raleigh. Hopefully, Mitch Garver feels a little bit better and gets his swing back a little bit. Hopefully, Jorge Polanco had that surgery and it gets figured out a little bit, and he, like, third base is more comfortable than second for some reason. Hopefully, those things happen, but it's kind of a wait and see at this moment. Number 2, Astros. Yep. Houston Astros take second. I'll be honest. I am concerned about putting a rookie third baseman in right field and then Jose Altuve in left to start the year. That's a whole lot of learning curve happening at the same time. Though I believe I'm a huge Jose Altuve fan, could not get that guy out. It's been a little bit of a journey out there at times. Little bit of a journey. Looked like Magellan trying to navigate some stuff. And you know what? As someone who shagged fly balls for the last day of my career and dropped 3 of the 4, I can attest it's hard as hell. And it's not really fair to him that he has to do that. But he's also leading off, and he's going to run from left to hit. Like I think it's going to be hard for Altuve to produce at a high level, especially at 35 years old. So hopefully it ends up being okay. But, wait and see, I guess. But Hunter Brown, I believe, is going to be, in my opinion, their MVP of the year. He's going to have a really solid year. I think he's going to be in the conversation for, I think that the word Cy Young will be mentioned around his name at times. I don't think he's quite there yet, but the way he finished last year and how strong it was, and he's a dog, and he wants to be great. So I think Hunter Brown will have a big impact on them. You're going to notice a lot of pitchers for MVPs, guys. This isn't like true MVPs. Like, of course, Yordan Alvarez, he'll probably produce the most runs, right? Of course. Of course, Logan Hoppe probably isn't the best hitter on their team. I'm saying people are going to get better. They're going to take a bigger role in their team. And if you ask them, you would have a case to make. And I'm just trying to keep it simple here. And also, if you're wondering who is replacing Bregman, because that might be in the chat right now, it is. Oh my God, I just forgot. I'm sure chat will tell you in a moment. At number 1, we have the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers win it this year. I know they kind of disappeared last year. I just don't feel like Marcus Semien and Corey Seager are going to stay down too long. I think they're going to score a bunch of points. Also, to answer your previous question, the third baseman is Isaac Paredes. Sorry, forgot about that. Isaac Paredes is the second baseman for the Houston Astros. Okay, so we got Jake DeGrom back. He's healthy. We'll see how many innings he throws. They got Eovaldi. The starting pitching is a concern for me because all of them have spent a lot of time being hurt recently, but potentially a phenomenal offense. They added Jake Berger. They added some interesting pieces too, bats wise. And I think the Texas Rangers are going to be pretty good in a division that's just wide open, and they're going to end the year 91 and 71. Corey Seager is going to be their dog once again, getting all the runs across the plate. But if Jake DeGrom's Jake DeGrom, I mean, he's 37. So, but if he throws 150 innings, he's just good. He's not going to have a bad year. That's the thing. If he's pitching, he's good. It's just that simple. So Texas Rangers take the AL West. Moving on to the AL Central. It's the time you've all been waiting for. And this sucked. This division sucks. Not at baseball, in predicting this. Oh my God, it's so hard. So hard. I'm going to try to explain my reasoning, but guess what, guys? I'm probably just wrong. So let's just go from there. All right. In 5th place, Chicago White Sox. You guys with me? We all on the same page here? Okay, cool. For all the reasons that you are assuming, I have them being 52 and 110 on the record. You can't see there's supposed to be an outline of Barry Bonds here, but it says player to be named later. That's going to be their MVP. Someone who's not on the team right now. Yeah. Number 4, Kansas City Royals. You're going to notice something else interesting later because I think they're going to have some really outstanding performances. I just think it's going to be this grindy thing at the end. I think I have 5 games or maybe 6 games separating the top 4 teams in this division. So bear with me. But Kansas City Royals coming in at 4th place in the division, just missing the playoffs. With an 83-79 record, Bobby Witt Jr. is their MVP. Duh. He's filthy. If he's not hurt, though, this guy is going to. Unfortunately, this is the way their team, at least from a hitting standpoint, is set up. If Bobby Witt Jr. misses any significant time, it's a little disjointed. Now, I think that Jonathan India is going to add some really nice on base with them. This team could easily be 95 win, could easily win 90 games as well. I think that a 7-game swing either way is interesting. But if you're 83 and 79 and take 4th, that's a pretty good division. Dude is always healthy, isn't he? Yeah, that's the thing. When you play 158 games a year, sometimes you run into a snag at some point. So. In number 3, and this, I swapped these recently because of the loss of God, their injuries make me so sad, man. Royce Lewis going down gave me pause, made me sad. Louis Varland or Brock Stewart is banged up a little bit. But I still have hope. But it's going to be very close. I knew it. I knew you guys wouldn't like this. I know Fangraphs have them winning it by 5 games, but some stuff has happened since that came out. Though I do love the starting rotation, and I think the top 3 of these teams are all going to be vying all year, and it could go these are interchangeable, okay? Number 2, I have him 84 and 78, and I think Joe Ryan's going to be really good this year. This is my guess. I think he's going to stay healthy. I think he's going to be really good. Pablo Lopez is a little bit of a question mark because he was really inconsistent last year, and I don't know why. I think Joe Ryan is about to take the next step to be a really, really great pitcher, but I would keep choosing pitchers. You know how it is. 84 and 78, that is me that's just because the division's beating up on each other. Number 2, Detroit Tigers. How do they take second? 87 and 75. Riley Green. And that's Riley Green spelled wrong. There's supposed to be an E at the end of that. But Riley Green, guy's a stud. I went and checked the Savant page. In terms of damage numbers, he was top 15% in the league in almost everything. He had an 832 OPS. I think a full healthy year out of Riley Green. He's only 24 years old. He takes one more step forward. He's that high 800, 900 OPS guy. That's a true 2-hitter. I think he's going to make a big difference. I love watching this guy play. It's sweet, smooth. He's just kind of hurt a little bit sometimes, but just pulling away a little bit there at the end. And then in the end, the Cleveland Guardians win it just because I can't ignore what they did last year and how good their bullpen is and how solid. It's just such a solid team, right? They don't have Naylor now, but they never have scored a lot of runs. They're the same. It's the same guys. Andres Jimenez is going to hurt them being gone. And Josh Naylor, even though he had a down year last year, is going to hurt him being down. But Carlos Santana's rock solid. They just added Nolan Jones for some thump, right? They just Tanner Bybee's now signed for 5 more years. They will have Shane Bieber coming back. They'll be a little bit better in the starting rotation. They have lots of options and depth, and they just have really good pitching development. So even if their guys are average on paper, they're still probably going to have a pretty solid year, and it's a good place to hit. But again, look at the record. They're 89 and 73 winning the division, and of course, the perpetual 5th place MVP guy is going to be their MVP once again because he is their offense and has been for a while now. But like I said, 4th place and 1st place separated by 6 total games. Could be anybody. So don't at me, bruh. Don't at me. All right. Now let's hit the AL East. In fifth place, the Shane McClanahan-less Tampa Bay Rays. Another division, maybe top to bottom. They don't have a Chicago White Sox. So top to bottom, going to be a absolute battle. We have the Yankees lose Garrett Cole and lose Heel right out of the gate. That's their 1-3 pitchers. Like, that stinks. Reigning Rookie of the Year, and it's just in 23 Cy Young winner, not now in the rotation. Max Fried, though, was a great addition. They still have good pitching, but still kind of the question marks around third base. We don't know when Stan's coming back. I just have this horrible feeling that it's going to be Judge or nothing again. I remember this stat from 2 or 3 years ago. Aaron Judge, when he was hurt, when he had the foot thing 2 years ago, when he was out, they were the Pittsburgh Pirates in offense. When he was in, they were the Yankees. And so if you have to lean that heavily on one guy, it's usually not a great sign for your team. So anyway, back to the Tampa Bay Rays. They lost Shane McClanahan. I think Yandy Diaz is going to continue to be their best hitter. It might be a pitcher, but now, as of right now, Ryan Pepio is their opening day starter. They have depth. They always surprise me, but now you got to remember there's a couple tough things happening now. They're playing in Steinbrenner outside in Florida. That sucks. They only play like 16 games in July and August at home to avoid the heat in Florida. But being on the road for 75% of your games is also really hard to do. So they have a lot of things that they're going to have to get through outside of just playing the game, and I think that's going to inevitably hurt them in a division that's going to be really, really competitive. Toronto Blue Jays taking fourth, but again, we have the same thing as the Central. Like, any of these teams, could be flip-flopping, swapping. Bo Bichette has a great year, and suddenly now they're in second or vying for the division. Like, it's possible. They have Max Scherzer now. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. They have good players with high ceilings. It's just they've had a lot of injuries and a lot of guys underperforming. Now, if Kevin Gausman comes back, great. Throws really well. Chris Bassitt comes back to have a really good year. But these guys are a little older. They've been around for a while, so we don't know. But it's possible. Again, 83 and 79. I'm being optimistic here. Vlad Guerrero is their MVP. He's the guy their offense revolves around, and they depend on him. So, duh. This is pretty much a duh for me. Number 3, New York Yankees have fallen in third place and probably just missed the playoffs. Sorry, guys. Like I mentioned, all that stuff before. They got some weird injuries, and they're kind of getting in this Aaron Judge or nothing space once again. 85 and 79, and their 2 MVPs are Aaron Judge. And I think Max Fried, I wasn't going to put Max Fried on here unless if Garrett Cole was here, it would just be Aaron Judge. But now they really need Max Fried to be an ace. They need it. They need it so badly. And if he doesn't become an ace this year, it could be tough in the Bronx. Number 2, Baltimore Orioles. I know. I can't give them the division this year. I can't. They really disappointed me in the offseason. They should have got a starting pitcher to be their ace, and they didn't. But they still have that young crew. So not having Gunnar at the beginning is not great. And they also have a good culture. And I think that's good for this crew together has played well pretty much the whole time they've been together. But I believe this is just an 88-74, and they sneak through it because the entire division beats each other up. And Adley manages the veteran pitching staff, and has a pretty good year at the plate. But at the end of the day, that lack of a true ace at the top of the rotation is going to end up burning them. As the Boston Red Sox take the AL East. Yeah, I know. Everyone's having this hot take. They're just deep. And I'm really excited about the big 3 guys. They could all just not have the hugest year, but I don't know. There's a lot of hype around this team. It's exciting. Boston Red Sox are exciting to get excited about because they make everyone. I feel like when they're good, the division's fun to watch. And I have them 90 and 72 winning the division. Garrett Crochet is the difference maker for them. A true ace, top of the rotation. And then now Houck and Cutter Crawford and Brian Bayo and all the other guys are going to try to start in that rotation can kind of filter in behind him, but he can be the guy that goes out and punches out 12 and 6 innings. He can be that guy. So Boston Red Sox, I think this is their year to win the division. But again, I think they're just a little bit more likely to win it than the Toronto Blue Jays. So keep that in mind. Let's get into the NL. NL West, we got to do the obvious one first. In fifth place, the Colorado Rockies, the fighting Dick Monforts. Colorado Rockies just doing their thing, being a team, having a beautiful park, beautiful weather, great game watching experience. And they're going to go 66-96. Ezequiel Tovar will end up being their MVP this year. I like this kid. I think he's a stud. I like him and Doyle in center. I think that they have a lot to look forward to. I think these guys really want to win. I just don't think they're being put in a position to do that very well. And number 4, San Francisco Giants. Again, high ceilings. How's this stuff going to work out? They added Adames. They added Verlander. They have Matt Chapman, who notoriously hates losing more than anyone on the planet. Oh, I'm missing a graphic somewhere, but I have them going just under 500. I believe it's 79 and 83. And Matt Chapman is their MVP. It'll probably pop up at some point. In third place, the San Diego Padres. I know if you squint, it's brown. Sorry. The San Diego Padres take third in the division. It's a lot of the same guys. Dylan Cease, Michael King at the top of the rotation with Yu Darvish. They still have Bogarts and Manny and freaking Fernando Tatis. You know what I mean? So, there's Matt Chapman. There it is. Matt Chapman. Sorry, 82 and 80. I have San Francisco. And then we have Fernando Tatis is their MVP, and they're 88 and 74. Just on the outside, looking in. For the top 2 in the division, that's the Arizona Diamondbacks coming in second. Surprise. Adding Corbin Burns is huge. Now they have their true ace. They got Josh Naylor to play first. The guy's got energy, and I think he's going to do well in Arizona. Eduardo Rodriguez is back to be in the 4th place in that rotation. We talked about Brandon Pfaadt last week, though he has a 5-year rate for his career. He threw 181 innings last year, which if you get 180 innings out of your 5 starter, you're in a good spot. Really good starting pitching. Justin Martinez is going to take another step forward to the back end of that bullpen. Ketel Marte, freaking Corbin Carroll. They're just good, man. Gabriel Moreno. They're just good. I like watching them, and I think they're going to take second place because, at a 91 and 71, they take second. Ketel Marte is their MVP. This guy is perennially, nasty and very rarely talked about. He's close to the Jose Ramirez of the NL, in my opinion. And the number 1 team is Los Angeles Dodgers. Everyone fall asleep with me. They're going to be 106 and 56, and Shohei Ohtani is their MVP and maybe the MVP of the league. If he pitches well and hits well, he's going to be the MVP of the NL, and it's annoying. All right, wake up. We're going to get into the Central now. NL Central. In 5th place, St. Louis Cardinals. They're not rebuilding. They're just pausing, guys. Haven't really done much. Been talking about trying to get rid of Arenado. They let Goldschmidt leave. They've kind of just grabbed all the pieces that were left, on the board and putting together a major league team. Though they do have some young guys who need to take the reins of this team if they want to be good into the future. And their MVP is going to be Mason Wynn. He was 3rd on the team in hits last year. I think there's a lot of improvement he can make. I know he didn't hit much in spring this year, but I think this just let it ride. Let him go out there and play. We don't need to micromanage him. We're not going to win a lot of games this year. Mason Wynn. He's going to do it. Pittsburgh Pirates in 4th place. Guys, trust me, I really want them to not be. I'm a huge Derek Shelton fan. I love that man. Their starting pitching is getting much, much, much better. They've got these young studs coming up that are great. They just need to score some gosh darn runs. Score some goddamn runs, please. Paul Skeens, MVP. They're going to end up 78 and 84 because if there was ever a Pirates or a record associated with the Pittsburgh Pirates, it's 78 and 54. Moving on, Cincinnati Reds take 3rd place. They end with a 500 record, 81-81, Ellie De La Cruz is their MVP. Though I think Matt McClain coming back is going to make them better. I just want to see what that starting pitching is going to do. Is Hunter Green going to post again? I think he is. But what are we going to get in the back end of the rotation? What are we going to get in the bullpen? And how are we going to score runs? Because they strike out kind of a lot. Ellie led the league last year with 208 strikeouts, 218 strikeouts. He led everybody. So he's going to get better. But as a team, they all need to kind of get better. But Terry Francona's there. So who knows? Tito might make the turnaround quick. We'll see. Chicago Cubs number 2. I love the Kyle Tucker trade. I love that they grabbed that guy. I know he started slow in spring, but he's always a slow starter, and then he just absolutely rakes. I think they're in a good position. Kyle Tucker's going to be their MVP, 85 and 77. I think Ian Happ's going to have another good year. Justin Steele, Imanaga, and Taillon are going to be good at the front of the rotation. They're consistent. They're solid. They throw strikes. They keep them in games. I'm just being. It's been a while since the Cubs were in the running, so I want to see a little bit better game out of them. And number 1, Milwaukee Brewers. Yeah, I learned my lesson. Last year I said Milwaukee's going to take like last. I'm an idiot. Milwaukee's always there, and it's not based on anything, right? It's not based on like projections. We got Trevor McGill, great name. I just don't want him to pass me all-time record for saves. I'm third all-time. He's going to pass me though. God, it sucks. I don't want to go to fourth. Who wants to go to fourth? That's off the podium. And their MVP is going to be Christian Yelich. Well, they need him to be. By all accounts and purposes, his back feels better. Hopefully, this is not something that keeps hurting him all year, and they end up 90 and 72, taking the Central Division. And the NL East, last but not least, NL East. In 5th place, Miami Marlins. You know why. Not a lot going on there. They are just trying to get as many prospects as they can. Their MVP is going to be Sandy Alcantara on their way to a 70 and 92 record. However, Sandy will be gone at the end of July, but he still will be the MVP at that point. The Sandy Alcantara sweepstakes is going to be really interesting to see in July. That is for sure. In 4th, we got the Washington Nationals holding it down in their traditional spot at the moment because the top 3 in this division are stacked as hell. But I think the guy who's going to be the biggest producer overall for the team, that's James Wood. Also, him and Josh Bell are on the same. James Wood and Josh Bell are just 2 monsters. So, and they both have the dreads going. I love the vibe. James Wood he's potentially really special. That's a 78 and 84 record from the Washington Nationals. In 3rd place, the Atlanta Braves, but just barely. Stay with me here. Atlanta Braves take 3rd. Only because of the delay of getting Acuna and Strider back. I think they're going to start a little bit slow, and they're going to need a lot out of Schwellenbach and a lot out of Sale out the gate. So, but I think their MVP, if they're about to have a good season, I think the guy who's going to need to produce on both sides of the field and do a really good job, that's Mr. Austin Riley. I'm a huge Austin Riley fan as well. He needs to hit some homers. He needs to be kind of like their Ozuna was last year. He needs to have a really good, really, really, really good year. Now, if you said no way Braves win the division, they're 90 and 72. So like, I think these 3 teams are just going to be tied all year. I hope so. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? And number 2, New York Mets. Woo! The Mets, 92 and 70, and Juan Soto's their MVP. Can I get a woo-woo? 92 and 70. They get the job done at the end, fending off another team, and the division winner are your Philadelphia Phillies with a really good starting rotation. They're still super complete. Their team has a nice smattering of free agents. They spend a good amount of money, and they have homegrown talent, Bryson Stott and Bohm. Like I love Brandon Marsh now playing center. They added Max Kepler for some lefty thump that crushes righties. Like I think they're a well put together team, but I really like their starting rotation. Rock solid. They're going to be 94 and 68, and their MVP Bryce Harper. Duh, Bryce Harper. All right, so the Phillies win the division. Let's talk about some individual awards really quickly as we finish up the first hour of the show here. Guys, if you are on foul territory right now and want to come over to Trevor May Baseball after this to see the second hour of the show, we are going to be getting into 10 bold predictions and a bunch of other fun stuff. So I'd love to see you over there, but that's in 5 minutes. AL reliever of the year, Mason Miller. Why? Because I want him to. Because I want him to. Mason Miller is your AL reliever of the year. In the NL, we have Justin Martinez. Like I mentioned, he's going to be a stud for Arizona this year. This kid is electric. Absolutely electric. Absolutely electric. It's crazy. So much fun to watch. He is a little wild. I think he's going to be better. He's only 22 years old. He also signed an extension too for I think it was 5 years, $4 million or something. No, I think it was 518, which is, I wouldn't recommend it, but nice. Your AL Rookie of the Year. Hot take, Christian Campbell. Yeah, I said it. Christian Campbell for the Red Sox, followed very closely by Jackson Jobe. I like Jackson Jobe. It's going to be wait to see how his pitching arsenal is going to shake out, but these two, Christian is kind of the closest to the big leagues. And I know Marcelo Meyer and those other guys are maybe highly touted, a little higher, but I think he's the closest to making his debut. So my assumption is these two guys are going to have the body of work to be in there for the award. So runner-up, Jackson Jobe in the AL. And in the NL, we have Roki Sasaki as your NL Rookie of the Year, followed really closely by Bubba Chandler, who comes up early for the Pittsburgh Pirates and shows Paul Skeens how to do it. How to do it. Roki Sasaki and Bubba Chandler are your NL Rookie of the Year final two. In the AL, your Cy Young Award winner is Cole Reagans. He is this close. He's this close. He's so close. I think he just needs to he needs some other guys to kind of come down to earth a little bit. Followed closely by Tarek Skubal. Once again, I just don't, barring injury, Tarek Skubal is in his prime. It's also a platform year. He's going to go off. And also, he's just so motivated. There's just energy here. I love both of these celebrations, too. If you're not watching the video version of this, you need to. On the NL Cy Youngs, Paul Skeens is your winner, followed by Hunter Green. I'm going to say Hunter Green's going to be in there at the end. I'm going to say Hunter Green's going to be in the conversation. I think Chris Sale will be there. I think Corbin Burns will be there. I think all these guys that are normally there will be there. But I just think Paul Skeens it's his to lose, and he's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where if he just throws it over the plate, he's fine. I have hot takes. What can I say? For your AL MVP, I know it's always judged. This year, it's going to be Bobby Witt Jr. So I have the Royals taking fourth in the division, but they have the Cy Young Award winner and the MVP. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Shut up. And your NL MVP is Juan Soto. Juan Soto is going to win it for another team that does not win their division. So I prefer to think of it that way. All the award winners are on the not the best teams, and then you got to see them face off at the end. That's how I want my baseball to be. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Bet you do. All right, so here's your playoffs. In the AL, your seeds are Rangers 1, Red Sox 2, Guardians 3, Orioles 4, Tigers 5, Astros 6. In NL, we have the Dodgers 1, Phillies 2, Brewers 3, Mets 4, D-backs 5, and Braves at 6. This is how your bracket will then look. This is how it'll shake out. We got Guardians versus Astros, moving on against the Red Sox. We got Orioles versus Detroit. Orioles win that one in the wild cards. They go on to play Texas. Orioles end up beating Texas. Boston ends up beating the Guardians, and then Boston ends up going to the World Series on the AL side. On the NL side, we have Atlanta versus Milwaukee. Atlanta takes down Milwaukee in the first round, and then Arizona and the Mets in the other side wild card, with the Mets taking that one. The Mets take on the Dodgers. The Dodgers take their first series, and the Phillies take on the Braves and take them down once again to go to the NLCS. Inevitably, the Phillies make it to the World Series and take on the Boston Red Sox and your World Series champs. Partying like it's 2008, the Philadelphia Phillies. And no Yankees in the playoffs. Yes, I said that. I said it. Your Philadelphia Phillies are your World Series champions. Don't at me. It's perfect. We have more predictions for you. I just predicted everything that I could possibly think of, and I have more stuff to predict. I have something called 10 bold predictions. That is this week's Going Deep.
See you later.
Yeah, that really happened. This is going deep. All right, let's get some bold predictions up in this B. My goal was to kind of just pick 10 categories and just randomly, just like tell you what my hot take was on them, because there's a lot of stuff to think about going into this. I'm always one of those people too that always notice like weird little statistics. Like one of my favorite stats about myself was how much better I was on back-to-back days on the second day. Like finding little things like that to kind of tell the story of the game has always been a passion of mine. So I love this time of year because I got to do these things, even if the chances of these things happening are low. But I want your take on them. So I got 10 bold predictions going into the 2025 season, starting with no team in the AL wins more than 92 games this year. There's no one who wins over 92 games, while the LA Dodgers win 106. I think the AL is going to be an absolute bloodbath. In the chat, Squizza really wants the Twins to win 92. And you know what? Hey, that's the type of being wrong that I would love to be. Okay, but my opinion, there is no AL team that will run away with the league, because it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of beating up on people. A guy who overperforms, an overperformer of the year. This is my overperformer of the year. A guy who I think is going to overperform the amount of money he's being paid. Tommy Pham. I think Tommy Pham is going to be extremely valuable to the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is no nonsense. He has hit for like 3 or 4 of the last 4 years, like been a really good hitter. I think it was a huge pickup. He was just absolutely like a steal in terms of money. Him and McCutchen. I think Tommy Pham is going to add more value to his team than he is being paid at the moment. Unfortunately, there's the flip side of this. Underperformer, Willie Adames. Okay? I'm just going to say that the type of money he's being paid by the San Francisco Giants, though I do believe he's a great defensive player and a pretty good hitter, he has always been in the realm of like between good and very good to me, like a good player, like a pretty good player, right? But never like a stud, never like the best player on his team. And I think that they're going to need some things out of him with his bat that part he's not going to be able to produce right away. That's what I think. Because he's paid a lot of money, but he's a shortstop. So I hope I'm wrong. But I guess what? I hope I'm wrong about everybody for this. I don't ever want to predict. Why did I predict someone underperforming? That's not me. It's bad juju, actually, I think. Yeah. Stolen base leader. The guy who's going to lead this league in stolen bases, Ellie De La Cruz, is going to do it again. He's going to steal 80 bags because there's going to be a lot of guys running. We got a lot of young bucks on the way. A lot of young dudes from the minor leagues last year stealing bases left, right, and center. There's just another year of the pitch clock being in, another year of the two pickoff rule being in. Guys are going to run, right? But who's going to lead the league in caught stealing? Well, that's Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie's also going to get caught the most because he's going to run more than everybody else. It's kind of like Ricky Anderson, right? Ricky stole 100. He also got caught 30 times. Or no, he got Ricky would steal like 100 and get caught like 20 and lead the league by like 10 in caught stealing because most people don't even run 20 times. So I think he's going to lead in caught stealing and in stolen bases. I think that you'd be willing to trade one for the other, no problem. The team that puts up the longest win streak this year, the Cleveland Guardians. And the reason I say that, it's going to be a 10-game win streak. The reason I say that is because they literally do it every year. They're the type of scrappy team that finds a way to sweep series. Though last year the Twins did it. It's always like an AL Central team. but I think the Cleveland Guardians are going to win 10 straight. That's going to be the long ones. How's it a bold prediction? You're right. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Your non-closing reliever of the year. The guy who I think is going to have the best year who does not close games, Jeremiah Estrada. For the San Diego Padres, this guy is disgusting. And he's quietly been a really good seventh inning guy for 2 years. I think this is going to be my reliever of the year. He's going to be my overall reliever of the year, Jeremiah Estrada. We're going to do a breakdown of him next week. I didn't have time to get it prepared because I was making all these assets all day. But that's my non-closer. And then your World Series MVP, because I didn't include it in the last segment. When the Phillies win it, Brandon Marsh is going to be your World Series MVP. Why? Because he's not Bryce Harper. He's not the guy you would think of. He's your Tommy Edman. Right? It's always that. It's always the Tommy Edmans of the world. What do you think? Bro, I thought you were a Met. The Phillies? What, am I supposed to just pick the Mets in the World Series? What do you mean? I was drafted by the Phillies, though. I don't know if you knew that. In the year they won their last World Series. So I'm trying to be objective here, man. I can't be biased. What do you mean? Diehard loyalty. How is that fun to watch? Why would I do a show and everything I do is the same thing every time? That's boring. Twins taking it all? I hope they do, man. I hope they do. All right, last two bold predictions from me, guys. 10 plus pitchers will throw more than 200 innings this year. Last year there were 4. This year there will be 10 or more 200 inning pitchers. Yeah, I'm right. Tell me. I need to hear how much I'm right. The reason I think this, I do have some. I'm feeling a trend from conversations I'm having with pitchers and how their goals are changing from year to year. I believe that even on the analytics side, the idea that starting pitchers getting a couple more outs a game is more beneficial than it is not, even with the third time around the order kind of, handicap, right? Like we try to avoid that. I think that the starting pitchers that can throw on average 5 2/3 instead of 5 do things for your bullpen. Your bullpen gets a lot better and your team tends to win more games. The more innings you get out of your starting pitching, the better your team is overall over a long period of time. Teams are leaning more heavily into that. I think that a lot of pitchers are saying that they want to throw more innings, and that's becoming a bigger goal for them. So I think that we get more of that and we get more health. Hopefully, I'm being hopeful. I really want guys to stay healthy. And then my last bold prediction, your RBI leader in the major leagues will be Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso will lead the major leagues in RBIs this year. I didn't say homers, but runs batted in. Pete Alonso's your RBI leader. The guy, he's pretty good at hitting guys in, and with Soto in front of him, I think that's going to add even more thump and opportunity for him to get guys across the plate. My man, Pete Alonso, your RBI leader. And that was Going Deep. Those are my 10 bold predictions for the 2025 season.